is music dying is a question, or a statement really. Music is dying is a question and a thing I get asked slash told a lot in modern day, being such a big music fan. And the more times I get told it or asked it, I find it harder and harder to disagree with. Because you'd think that whoever's asking me this is probably just an older person who dislikes the current state of music, and they think it was much better when they were young and everything was run by A&R people, but it's not. You see more younger people asking this question, people my age, people younger than me, saying that music is a dying art and music is a dying industry, more particularly because I don't think a lot of people are denying the artistry of really talented people who want to put the work into music. I think people are more so talking about the overall industry and overarching people who actually run music labels and streaming services and who decide what makes it to the top. Because if you ask me this question, it would take me a while to answer. Because in my heart, I want to say no. Because I love music so much and I don't want music to die. And I also think it's very improbable for something as prominent in modern culture like music to die. But if I thought about it for a while, I might say yes, just because of the direction music has been heading in for the better part of the last 15 years. If you look at it, artists, pure artists, make less now than they have ever before in the entire history of modern music. So the past 80 years or whatever, basically. With streaming, even the biggest artists are making pennies on the dollar from their music that they take years and sometimes decades to make. Which is why you see so many artists like Mac Hami who choose to not go through any conventional routes and completely do everything themselves, and half the time only have physical releases or have insanely exclusive digital releases that cost thousands of dollars, because he knows he's not going to make any money from going through a label, and he knows he's going to get his ass whooped by a person who owns a label. And people like him are part of the reason why music is still going, but some people might see him as part of the reason why music is dying, because he's not contributing to the pop thing, the pop labels that keep the business afloat. So there's two conflicting parties here, basically. There's the artists and there's the people who are the labels that want to make the money, and both of them could die at the same time, or one of them could rise up. And right now it's looking like either they will both die or the labels will rise up, because they have all the cards. When you look at it, they control what gets put out. If you're not on a major label, you're not going to get big. You're not going to get huge. You're not going to get the numbers like Drake has. You're not going to have the mansion. So, do I think music is dying? Yeah. Do I think there's no good music anymore? No. I think people that think there's no good music coming out just aren't looking hard enough, and that's their fault. But do I think music could die? Do I think music is flatlining? Not yet. Do I think music is slowly losing blood? Yes. I think people that make music are less motivated than ever because they know it'll probably never get seen, or that it will probably not make them a living because of walls that have been put up. And I don't know what the answer to the problem is, but I know there is a problem. And I know that people like me don't really help or hurt it. I know me talking about it and criticizing music all day probably won't make someone more motivated, or less motivated, really. I think the power lies in businesses and companies that really basically control what's going to be put out there and what's going to be seen. Because I think music becoming more and more commercial is what kills it. Like I said, it's a hard game to play, if that makes sense, is basically what I'm trying to say. Because I think at the heart of it, what music is for people to have a voice, for people to speak and express themselves. But as time goes on, it feels more like it's for people to entertain other people and to please other people, which labels and companies only help. They're not trying to make music more pure and artistic like they might have been in the past. I think all it does is hurt it. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I don't want music to die. I don't want to be at the funeral, if that makes sense. I think the biggest thing you can do is to find artists that you really like and to support them heavily in every way you can. If you don't have money to go shows, that makes perfect sense. But just in every way you can, try and buy physicals, go to shows, stream as much as you can, even though it may not help. But find the artist you love. Find the artist that you really just can't get enough of, and really just go home with it. Like, don't stop. And hell, go make music. Do it yourself. Empower yourself. Go other people. Make the world your own. Like, but just no matter on either side, no matter which side you're on, never just get in those pitfalls. Never let them get you. And music won't die. But it could happen.